Holy. Okay, I think I could do this review now. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and I'm here today to review the anime equivalent to a snuff film, Corpse Party. Oh yeah. Now, Corpse Party follows a group of friends that are hanging out after the cultural festival at their school, and this one girl is telling them a scary story about a school that used to be there before their school was erected, and the murder that happened in that school, and they're all getting scared, and there's rain and lightning and thunder outside. The teacher comes in and says, hey guys, you gotta leave now. And before they leave, the same girl that told the story pulls out this good luck charm because one of their friends, I believe, is leaving, and they have to like do this type of ritual. I don't really remember what it was, but they have to say something 9 times, and then they rip the paper, and right when they do that, they feel like this earthquake, and they fall through the ground, and they end up in this old looking school. It's like made of wood and everything, and they just realize that they're in Heavenly Host Elementary, and now they have to survive being killed by the souls that haunt the old school. Now, this anime, or should I say OVA series, was the second most requested review for Bullshit Month, with 117 votes. And after the terrible, god-awful, and horrendous atrocity that is that which will never be uttered on this channel ever again, I was not looking forward to Corpse Party. I dreaded the idea of watching it. I was so reluctant to see it. But I finally built up the courage to push forward and watch this OVA series. And after seeing it, I gotta say, my God. My soul has been crushed. It's been crushed. This is without a doubt one of the most brutal, gory, and disturbing animes I think I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot. But again, what did you expect from an anime literally titled Corpse Party? It's not gonna be about a nice innocent birthday party, no. But guys, I'll put it to you this way. Without the shocking and disturbing images, this OVA series comes off as a really poorly executed series, lacking in any depth or any weight or any attachment. Now, this is neither a pro nor a con for the OVA series. More or less a disclaimer, a warning for those watching this video. This OVA series is not meant for the faint at heart. If you easily puke or faint at the sight of blood or any type of gruesome activity, I warn you not to watch this OVA series. And I know what you're all thinking, oh, it's just little blood, you know, or someone just spits out blood or, you know, gushing blood. I can handle it. I'm not just talking about gushing blood or just a spittle of blood. I'm talking about mutilation, decapitation, people literally, their intestines and organs falling out of them. If you can't handle any of that shit, don't watch this OVA series. Not even if it piques your curiosity. If you can't handle seeing that, don't watch this. I implore you. And also, on a lighter note, don't eat anything while watching this OVA. You're gonna regret it, or you're gonna puke it back up. I promise you. First things first, and I reluctantly say this. I mean, really reluctantly say this, but I have to give credit where credit is due, and the OVA series definitely deserves credit for this. The animation in this OVA series was solid. A bit gruesome and disturbing, but the animation quality, the character designs, they were handled very well. To my everlasting shame, they were handled very well. The story, although very hollow and lacking any exploration, was still pretty interesting as we follow these students who are trapped in this haunted school and have to survive and figure out how to get out. I was pretty interested in that. Not only that, but they handled the tone and atmosphere of the OVA series perfectly, giving off this really creepy and unsettling vibe in each and every episode that just gives you goosebumps, trying to figure out what's going to happen next to the characters. It kept me on the edge of my seat, but at the same time cowering behind my blanket. And lastly, in the same vein as the story, the characters. Yes, all of them heavily lack any sort of development or even relationship building among the characters, but for the most part, I liked some of them. I mean, I wanted them to survive, and I was sympathetic to their plight. But did I care what happened to them? We'll get to that soon. But with the good comes the bad. And this OVA series is no exception when it comes to that. There are a lot of elements, both in a storytelling aspect and a character aspect, that I felt like could have been handled a little bit better or were just poorly executed. And the first and biggest problem that I had with this OVA series is the fact that it felt extremely rushed. And I could understand the anger, frustration, and hate of this OVA series from people who were fans of the original video games. To see their beloved video game finally get an OVA treatment, and to get a treatment like this is a spit in the face. And from that big problem branched out all the other problems that I have with this OVA series, like the fact that they don't go into detail or even explore some of the story elements in this OVA series, which left people like me, who's never played any of the games, in the dark, wondering, what does that mean? Or could you explain that a little bit more? What happened there? There were a lot of unanswered questions by the end of the OVA series that just left me baffled. Like, could you please explain that? Please, I don't understand. An example of how they don't explain any of the story elements and how they blatantly rush through the entire OVA series is the fact that there are these two characters that not only figure out where they are, but they figure out how to get out of this terrible nightmare. They find out that where they are is in these closed areas created by the unrested souls of the victims at that school. And the only way to get out of there is to bring peace or put to rest the unrested souls. They do it one time for this one kid. His soul goes up to heaven. He's finally at peace. And literally 4 minutes later, they did it for all the rest of the other souls that they needed to put to peace. And I'm like, wait a minute, what happened there? How did you guys do it so fast? I mean, they did it like that. Now I'm guessing in the games, they explore that a little bit more, because later on, one of the characters that they put to rest, or sort of put to rest, comes and helps them out, sort of. And I was like, wait a minute, why are you helping them out? Like, what did they do for you besides put your soul to rest? Did you guys talk? Did you bond? They don't explore. And speaking of the characters, as much as I did sympathize for them and I wanted them to get out of this terrible situation, I found it extremely difficult to really give a damn about what happened to any of them, because they sorely lacked in development that I was never really attached to these characters. I never cared about them. Not only did they fail in developing any of these characters, but they failed to establish any character relationships that aren't your cliche, stereotypical character relationships. They're all friends, and one of them has a sister, and one of them's their teacher. Those are standard. You got to grow from there. You got to build some strong bonds between them that when they lose one of their friends, you actually feel the weight of it. Never once did I feel the weight of somebody's death in this entire OVA series. And you know what? After watching this series, I did a little background research on the characters and the dynamics of their relationships with each other. And you know what? Some of these weren't even explored in the OVA series. Like, there are these two girl characters, Naomi and Ayumi, who apparently have a crush on who is considered the main protagonist, or the main male protagonist of the series, which I had no idea he was the main protagonist because he never seemed like it, Satoshi. And apparently Satoshi and Naomi are supposed to be childhood friends, yet I never once felt that in the entire series. They just seem like, you know, casual friends that they see whenever they go to high school and they see them in class. They never felt like they had a strong bond. What a fail! And as I think back to it now, the gore and ultra-violence in this OVA series comes off as a bit excessive, thrown in there to hide the fact that they don't have a very well-developed story to keep people enticed to watch, and don't have that many interesting or well-developed characters for us to get attached to. So when a character dies, we're not reacting to their death because we really cared about the character, we're more or less reacting to the shock of what's happening to them as they get killed. It's shock value for the sake of shock. And at the end of the day, it just comes off as very gimmicky, just a way for the OVA series to stand out of a crowd and attract an audience for the sake of curiosity, rather than serving the story or the plot. And the last thing that I just really hated about this OVA series was its ending. That's how you're gonna end it? That's how you're gonna end it? What the fuck was that? I was so confused. I had no idea what the fuck just happened there. It seemed like everything was okay, and then all of a sudden they get back to the real world and something went awry, and I'm like, how did that happen? It seemed like everything was okay. The ending just left me so unsatisfied and chock full of questions that have yet to be answered. I went online to find out what the hell was up with that ending, and I have yet to find anything to explain that ending. And if you guys can send me links, or if you know what happened, please let me know, because I'm confused. I have no idea how that didn't work, and oh my god, it felt very pointless in my opinion, and it was just shock for shock's sake. But overall, what is there to say about Corpse Party? Seriously. Granted, it does have a few good elements to it. But those good elements are so minuscule that they don't save the OVA series from being what it truly is. A piss-poor adaptation of what I'm assuming is a much better video game series that does a terrible job at developing, fleshing out, or even exploring any of the story elements, a terrible job at developing, growing an attachment to, or even fleshing out some character bonds or relationships between characters, and nothing to really get attached to, nothing to be really invested in, and gore and over-the-top violence that feels like it's put in there for the sake of shock and awe and nothing else. Nothing to serve the story or the characters. And besides those few shocking moments, I'm really not going to think about this OVA. I'm not going to remember any of the characters or what the story was about. Because honestly, this OVA series is a 2 out of 5 stars. It is an easily forgettable OVA series, and if you really want to see anything dealing with Corpse Party, I say try out the video game. It's gonna be much better than this piss poor OVA series. But anyway, what did you guys think about this OVA series? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you get a kick out of it? Is it one of your favorite animes to watch? Or were you like me and were just really disgusted by it, you couldn't stand watching it, and you felt like it really lacked substance for you to be invested in? And let me know, what is the most demented and grotesque thing you've ever seen? Anime, live action, creepypasta, what have you? Comment below, let me know. And bullshit month just keeps on trucking. Well, at least it wasn't as bad as last week, right? But anyway, until the next video, guys, hit that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Welcome to the Black Critic Guy. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm Tony Watley II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube. I'm gonna go watch School Rumble.